Eric and I will be talking about network policy at Datadog and how we use them.
Yes, so network policy in our case was very much compliance driven. FedRAMP notably is something that we've been working on for the past year or so. And so definitely as part of hardening our systems in order to meet these requirements, we felt that we needed network policy. In other words, to have firewall segregation of our workloads in our Kubernetes clusters. So we actually work with a full enforcement mode. So we basically go slightly beyond the style where network policies only become enforced once a network policy is enforced on a pod, like it comes in scope of a network policy. We actually dictate that network policy, only the traffic that's explicitly allowed by network policies will be able to flow. So we do this for all the traffic within clusters, apart from the host network traffic, because the CNI that we were using, so SIGIM as it happens, was growing host network policy, but it wasn't yet ready, and we didn't feel that we wanted to go that path, at least not straight away. And the other aspect that we control significantly here is the actual ingress egress from the cluster, and including the internet, because that's actually a real boon, I think, of being able to clamp down on egress traffic to the internet from a pod that might have been taken over by an attacker or something. Just not allowing that by default is great.
So adopting network policy was a process for us, and now we would talk about what we think went well in this process. So first of all, we introduced network policy very early in the cluster's life. That made it possible for their applications that need to run in this cluster to have network policy creation as part of their deployment and bootstrapping process. So that prevented from any potential traffic interruptions that might have happened if we started adopting network policy for existing and like running cluster. The next good thing is that we were very careful with choosing the policies and the selectors that we want to enable. So in many cases, it was very specific to the applications, and that allowed to defer loading of the policies only when they need it. And the last but not least is making policy creation easy for application developers by providing very comprehensive documentations. So application developers would see our recommendations for what rules to use or to avoid, what are the gotchas, and for them, writing the policy became easy just by taking the examples that we provide for them and adopting them for their services.
Yeah, so going on from there, some of the points where we thought we could improve. So writing the guidance was a big piece of work and was very useful. We needed it in order to be able to communicate with the applications, to help them learn and help them write their own network policies. This was still very much a big communication burden. We had to go and talk to the teams an awful lot. It was difficult for them initially. However, I'm really happy to say that all in all, it's very low bandwidth nowadays, the support that we do for network policy in the sort of platform teams. And for instance, from an incident perspective, it's been almost boring. It just worked well. We had, a few little problems that people needed help with over time, but it's really been adopted quite well. We still, as I mentioned, host network was a challenge for us. We haven't used the host network policies yet. There are some of our workloads that would benefit. And we definitely like to use more of the policy types that exist that are available through Cilium, for instance.
Yeah, and just to add to Eric's point, we're also looking forward for adding any new policy types, maybe anything based on the XDS control plane that would fit nicely into their work that a lot of companies are doing. So the next thing we believe would have could be improved is adding automation for policy generation and validation. Talking to the application who wrote those network policies, it was one of the pain points for them. Just some small error in YAML file in indentation would cause policy not working and lead to additional debugging time. And also tools around linter and figuring out what network policies applications actually need to deploy would also be nice to have and would simplify lives of application developers. That's it from us. Thank you.
Actually, if I could just add one small thing, which was we would really have benefited from the network policy editor at the time. I mean, from the point of view of educating the applications and allowing them, to see what they were doing, what they needed to do. I think it would have been a great bonus.